Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're shifting gears from just accumulating your own retirement wealth to architecting a lasting, multi-generational legacy. Look, if you've been working hard to build your assets, you already know that accumulation is really only the first half of the journey. Today, we're going to dive deep into what it actually takes to protect, structure, and seamlessly pass on those assets. You know, building a family legacy isn't some happy accident. It takes deliberate, intentional structure. You can have all the financial success in the world, but if you don't have long-term strategies in place, the transfer of that wealth can be incredibly vulnerable, whether that's to taxes, legal hurdles, or honestly, just a lack of preparation by the next generation. So what does this actually mean for us? The key takeaway here is endurance. True generational wealth is about what supports your family long after you're gone. We're not just talking about a pile of cash in a bank account. We're talking about real estate, family businesses, and diversified investments that are deliberately structured. It's about building a foundation that can adapt to crazy economic changes while keeping things stable for your kids, your grandkids, and beyond. Okay, let's look at our blueprint for today. We're going to cover 4 main pillars: mindset and growth, defending your wealth, estate planning, and finally, empowering your heirs. Starting right off with sections 1 and 2. Mindset and optimizing tax-efficient growth. A strong structure needs a rock-solid foundation, right? And in wealth building, that means keeping more of what you earn through smart, tax-efficient investing. Now, this is absolutely crucial. Asset location is literally the bedrock of your strategy. Simply putting the right investments in the right accounts completely changes your tax outcome. For instance, holding tax-efficient ETFs or long-term stocks in your taxable brokerage accounts makes total sense. On the flip side, you'll want to take the investments that generate ordinary income, things like bonds or actively managed funds, and stip those into your tax-advantaged accounts, like an IRA or 401k. Just this one simple alignment is a massive game changer for your long-term success. And since we're talking about foundation building, doing a mid-year check-in is vital. Making these strategic adjustments now keeps your portfolio perfectly aligned with your goals, and it totally saves you from that frantic year-end scramble. Pay attention to your holding periods so you snag those lower long-term capital gains rates. You can also use tax loss harvesting to offset gains from earlier in the year. And, of course, double-check that you're on track to max out your retirement and health savings account contributions. But hey, quick time out here. If you're using that tax loss harvesting strategy, you absolutely have to watch out for the 30-day wash sale rule. The IRS specifically bans you from buying back the exact same or even a substantially identical security within 30 days before or after claiming that loss. If you trip up on this, those tax benefits you were banking on, totally disallowed. Moving right along to Section 3, defending against wealth erosion. Once the foundation is poured, we've got to build the defensive walls. That means protecting your hard-earned money from major eroders, starting with required minimum distributions. The Secure Act 2.0 completely rewrote the playbook here for tax-deferred accounts. We went from age 70 and a half just a few years ago up to age 73 today, and it's actually going to hit 75 in 2033. So, to put that in perspective, if you're turning 73 in 2025, your absolute deadline to take that first RMD is April 1st, 2026. Get this, missing an RMD used to hit you with a massive 50% penalty on whatever you failed to withdraw. 50%! But thankfully, the Secure Act 2.0 slashed that penalty down to 25%. And actually, you can even get it knocked down to 10% if you correct the mistake quickly enough. Still, a 25% hit is brutal, and with proper planning, it's 100% avoidable. Looking specifically at 2025, the landscape has actually shifted a bit in our favor. For starters, if you've got a Roth 401k or 403b through work, you are no longer subject to lifetime RMDs on those accounts. That money gets to stay invested. Also, you can now use tools like QLAX to defer up to $210,000 in 2025, which seriously shields your wealth from immediate taxes. Oh, and one quick reminder, if you're passing IRAs onto your heirs, most of your beneficiaries are going to face a strict 10-year window to withdraw those inherited funds. Okay, let's pivot to another massive wealth eroder, healthcare costs. We all know Original Medicare is a great foundation, but it definitely has blind spots. It doesn't cover everything. Things like routine dental, vision, hearing, and crucially, custodial long-term care are completely left out. That is a massive risk for out-of-pocket wealth erosion. So here's how we tackle that. By following this exact step-by-step blueprint, we can build a budget that absorbs those medical shocks without putting a crack in your family's wealth. Start by reviewing past expenses to get a baseline. Next, factor in premium costs for a Medigap or Medicare Advantage plan. Make sure you're planning for deductibles, seriously evaluate long-term care, and if you can, set aside a dedicated HSA before you retire, because those funds are totally tax-free for qualified medical expenses. And since Medicare basically won't touch custodial care, nursing facilities or home health aides, we've got to build a long-term care solution right into your legacy plan. Whether you go with a traditional long-term care policy, a hybrid life insurance plan with a care rider, dedicated personal savings, or even Medicaid eligibility planning, whatever you choose, it has to be a conscious decision made way before you actually need the care. All right, on to Section 4, structuring your estate plan. Now we're looking at the framework of the estate itself. Think of these 3 tools as the load-bearing walls of your estate. First, wills. Provide clear instructions so your family avoids messy disputes. Second, trusts. These are incredibly powerful for managing assets, protecting you from creditors, and offering some pretty major tax advantages. And third, never sleep on your beneficiary designations. Keeping those updated on your retirement accounts and insurance policies dictates exactly where that money flows, and it often lets you bypass the entire probate process completely. Now, if giving back is important to your family, you've absolutely got to know about qualified charitable distributions, or QCDs. If you're 70 and a half or older, this strategy lets you donate up to $108,000 in 2025 directly from your IRA to a qualified charity. Here's the best part. It counts towards satisfying your RMDs, but it doesn't add a single penny to your taxable income. Taking it a step further, setting up things like a donor-advised fund or a family foundation, well, it does more than just give you a tax break. It weaves social responsibility right into your family's DNA. Getting the younger generations involved in giving and volunteering builds a sense of shared purpose. And honestly, that extends way beyond just the financial success. Finally, Section 5, empowering the next generation. Because a fortress is only as strong as the people guarding it. I want you to ask yourself this, and be completely honest. Is your family prepared to inherit? You've spent your whole life building, optimizing, and fiercely protecting this wealth. But if the next generation doesn't have the financial education to handle it, those assets can vanish fast. Handing over an inheritance without proper preparation is a huge risk to the legacy itself. The fix here is simple but crucial: active involvement. Teach them the ropes. Introduce them to how stocks, bonds, and real estate actually work in the real world. Have open, honest conversations about your goals for the estate. Support their entrepreneurial ideas. And teach them responsible spending. That's how you make sure they become strong stewards of your wealth, not just consumers of it. Let's zoom out for a second. Building generational wealth, it's an intentional, living process. It means adapting to new tax laws, changing healthcare rules, and evolving family dynamics. Wealth isn't just about what you stack up while you're working. It's about what actually endures to provide security and opportunity for the people coming after you. If you're ready to stress test your own strategies, lock in those mid-year tax optimizations, and make sure your blueprint is rock solid for the next generation, don't put it off. Reach out to your advisor today to schedule a discovery call. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I'm going to leave you with this one thought. If your wealth outlasts you, will your family's readiness outlast your wealth? Here's to building a legacy that truly endures.